Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 554 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. For those of you watching live, thank you very much for sticking around for episode 2 of the 3 that we're planning to do today. For those of you watching the recording, please ignore everything I just said 3 seconds ago. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so, and you should also be able to find links to my Substack and to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. First comment goes to Alex, who says, Buongiorno, Acqua Di Parma, how delicious. Buongiorno indeed. Joseph says, this particular one reminds me of bathroom cleaner, alas. Oh gosh, really? We're going to disagree then, I think. Mind you, maybe you use a beautifully scented bathroom cleaner that you absolutely love the smell of. Xabi says it's giving me window cleaner. Seriously? Oh, and Oriana says matchy. I know. Afterwards, I kind of thought talk about doing this. This video is not sponsored by Acqua Di Parma in any way. Perfect weather for some Acqua Di Parma, says Helter Skelter Jones, depending on where you are. And, well, that's easier to translate than summer, says Omar. Yes, because Buongiorno, of course, as you know, refers to that particular noise that cows make when they've sort of gone over a particular field of lavender, but only in the southern hemisphere in the third quarter of each year. That's what Buongiorno actually means. Oh, and in Italian, I think it just means hello. Spencer says, hello from DC. Scent of the day is Passage d'Enfer, because DC... Okay, I'm not going to ask. My favourite Acqua Di Parma is Colonia Intensa, says Thomas. I love some of their scents, says Dennis. In Austria, says Alex, it's like summer today with the peonies in full bloom. I mean, not particularly summery here today. It hasn't been cold, hasn't been freezing cold, and it hasn't been raining. But anyway, let's get a move on. This is an interesting release, smell aside, from Acqua Di Parma, because they're calling it the first of its kind, and I think the press blurb will explain what they mean by the first of its kind. So this is a new EDP. It's called, as you can see, Buongiorno, and it's not part of the Blue Mediterraneo, and it's not part of whatever collection that they did a little while ago, the ones which all had a particular floral. Some of you may remember that going back, maybe 10 years, they also did like a super exclusive range. I don't even know if that one exists. And I think all of that is indicative of the fact that, rightly or wrongly, Acqua Di Parma, certainly in the UK context, is a brand that struggles to be recognised for anything other than its cologne, than the classic Colonia. Marketing people out there, brand strategists out there will tell you that it's very, very dangerous for a brand to have only one, what they call hero product, that basically brings in most of the revenue. Because if anything were to ever happen to that product, then the brand might collapse, and they're always trying to make sure that they have several sort of strong sellers, and then it doesn't matter so much if there are some of the other ones that don't sell as strongly. And Acqua Di Parma don't ever seem to be able, haven't in recent years been able to get anything to be as successful as their Colonia. Now, some of you may say, well, they mustn't complain. Their cologne is beautiful, one of the best colognes out there, and they should be glad that they've got the cologne. But I guess that's not how things work in brand development, brand strategy. So it's interesting that this is effectively a kind of standalone Acqua Di Parma release that doesn't go into any of the florals, that doesn't go into a Blue Mediterraneo. So in that sense, it's kind of a first of its kind. I've never smelt an Acqua Di Parma, says Marco. We'll start with the cologne. The bottle looks almost identical to Colonia Il Profumo, says Omar. Yes, I agree with you. And that wasn't, I don't think that was a spectacular sort of release. But if they are hoping that this is going to be, this unicorn that they keep chasing, this monster hit, then I think they need to think about price, because this is expensive stuff. When we might get onto price when I read the press release, but I think if memory serves, for 100 mils of EDP, this is over £200. So it's in the proper pricey bracket. Now, having said all of that, I do think the first impression it makes is rather wonderful, and I think Buongiorno is just the perfect name for it. Isn't it strange that you would have thought that a name like that would have been taken by now, or maybe had been taken and then the copyright or it's not copyright, trademark or whatever, lapsed. Anyway, Buongiorno, you have to be okay with grapefruit, and I know that some people are very, very definitely not okay with grapefruit. I think for some people, the more sulfurous aspects of grapefruit and indeed of vetiver can be quite challenging. But if you're okay with grapefruit, this is just one of those instant smile on your face type compositions. It's a very, very naturalistic, citrusy, grapefruity scent, and it's really, really properly, convincingly sunny. I have no idea who the perfumer is, and it's a bit of a shame that Acqua Di Parma don't reveal who the perfumer is. When François Demachy was still working, was still at Dior, the Acqua Di Parma, which is also an LVMH brand, right? They made it pretty obvious that actually he was the perfumer behind most of the Acqua Di Parma scents. But now, I don't know, perhaps it is still Demachy, perhaps it's other people. But is it similar to Louis Vuitton's grapefruit in Symphony, says Ixabi? Oh gosh, I can't remember. But what's interesting is, speaking of LVMH, that kind of takes us to Guerlain, which we were just talking about in the previous video. As I was smelling it, I kind of thought, oh gosh, this is like a really, really juicy, fizzy Pamplemousse from Guerlain. But as it develops, you also kind of get a mint note, which instantly, a kind of sweet, chewing gummy sort of mint, which makes you think of herba fresca. And that is how this scent actually goes. If you were ever wanting a combination, a coming together, a marriage of Pamplemousse and herba fresca, this is it. It's Acqua Di Parma Buongiorno. And it's just a delight. It's a delight to wear. It's a delight to smell. As long as you can take the grapefruit, it is really, really optimistic and smiley and happy and full of that kind of Italian joie de vivre. You picture all of the cliches. You picture people. I mean, the terrible cliches and stereotypes. But you picture smartly turned out people on Vespers and people having espressos and talking over each other, and everything is just underneath a gloriously blue sky. Which part of Italy? I mean, I suppose it doesn't make me think particularly of Sicily, because it's a bit too laid back, it's a bit too relaxed, it's not quite as hot. But maybe, I don't know, and I don't know Italy that well, but maybe this is quite Amalfi Coast. I don't know. Although maybe it's not as expensive as Amalfi Coast. It's quite accessible. Where could it be? I don't. Let's say somewhere like Verona, because Verona is quite romantic, and I think there is a sort of romanticism to this perfume as well. Amalfi Coast for me, says Melanie. Oh, well, you can have the Amalfi Coast. I'll take Verona. Sorrento, yeah, okay. Lemon Arugula says, I love fresh, juicy grapefruit, but I hate how often white musks and laundry musk are used to make it last. So hard to find a grapefruit fragrance with a good dry down. Right, so we'll do the press release, and then we will also do the pre-sprayed blotter, because it'll be interesting to smell that. Verona works well, actually, says Joseph. I'm glad you agree. Portofino is like super exclusive and expensive as well, isn't it? It's got to be somewhere that you can just feel like you're a normal person hanging out. Anyway, so a first of its kind debut for Acqua Di Parma. Buongiorno is an eau de parfum that embraces the thrill of new beginnings. Introducing Buongiorno, a first of its kind release. I think they're going to be telling us about this first of its kind thing a lot. An ode to the Italian art of living, filling every day with the art of vibrant sophistication and finding beauty even in the smallest moments and rituals. A manifesto of the spirit of Acqua Di Parma, where being Italian is about what you value, from life's pleasures to the joy of the present moment. This much anticipated eau de parfum, really? By the people at LVMH, or by, I don't know, captures the essence of sparkling new beginnings inspired by the arrival of spring in the Tuscan hills. I suppose we can have Florence, we can have places like, yes, we could. I suppose, is Siena in Tuscany? We can give them Siena. We can go with Siena. Evoking the morning dew and the feeling of the first rays of the sun on your skin. The first barefooted steps in the garden one April morning after the rain has just stopped, with a delightfully chilly sensation that brings goosebumps. For me, this has got a lot more people in it, okay? This isn't silent. This is out and about, the hustle and bustle of wonderfully lively Italian life. Green notes of the fragrance are reminiscent of an uplifting freshness of the morning right after a night of rain as the sun rises, warming the skin. Buongiorno was crafted through the art of co-distillation, so this is what's a first for them, where petitgrain and basil are distilled simultaneously, harmonizing their distinct characters into a single olfactory masterpiece. The fragrance opens with a robust aromatic top featuring invigorating notes of lemon, spearmint and rosemary. They don't mention grapefruit, but I'm getting a lot of grapefruit, alongside the co-distilled basil and petitgrain. As the fragrance unfolds, it reveals a heart of lavandin and mandarin leaves, adding sophistication and balance. The dry down features a luxurious blend of cedarwood, amber and white musks, providing warmth and depth. A standalone fragrance, the new Buongiorno comes in a striking yellow transparent coloured bottle, a visual representation of the radiant freshness and vibrant energy that it embodies. Do I also embody radiant freshness and vibrant energy? Because thank goodness it isn't see-through though. The Buongiorno experience expands with a bath and body and lifestyle range. A lifestyle range. What do we think of that? That's very, very 25. But we don't need to worry about that too much. There is a soap bar, there's a hand soap, there's a hand balm. Apparently, you can elevate your candle rituals, people. You can elevate your candle rituals with the Buongiorno Abbracciami candle glass holder featuring intricate raffia weave patterns for a dynamic visual effect. I haven't seen the candle. And what was I saying about price? Have I got the price? Oh, I haven't got the price here. Well, I'm pretty sure it's £200 plus for 100 mils of EDP. Perhaps somebody can tell me. But they've done a lot under Buongiorno. So there's the EDP, there's a hand balm, there's a perfumed soap, there's a... I don't know what the chapeau is. Chapeau with an exclamation mark. 1.6 kilos. I have no idea what that is. Maybe, will the press release tell me? The Buongiorno Tutto a Posto hat box reimagines the iconic Acqua Di Parma hat box with premium leather and woven raffia, while the Buongiorno My Senza beauty case is a versatile travel essential. So they have done a lot. Then, yes, there's the beauty case, there's a hat box, there's a candle glass holder, there's a soap holder, there's hand wash, hand lotion, hand wash refill, hand lotion refill, hand and body wash. So a lot. I think what we're meant to read into that is that they are really, really going to be pushing this. Okay, what are you folks saying? Oh dear, scented toothpaste and window cleaner. It's better than that, Alex. Trust me, it's better than that. Van says, I need a candle ritual then. In this case, need to catch up with being all 2025. I know, I feel we should all have a candle ritual. Teresa says, I just tuned in. I love that your shirt matches the fragrance bottle. Well, I kind of do as well, although it was completely coincidental. And Alex says, lifestyle scented cat litter. If you have a cat, right, pre-sprayed Acqua Di Parma. Okay, is there a hair oil, says Carl. They should have done a hair oil. They should have done a beard oil. They should have done a cooking oil. They should have done a Buongiorno cooking oil, so that when you fry your eggs on your glorious Tuscan morning, your eggs smell of grapefruit and cedarwood, maybe. Gavin says, I want a Meghan Markle fragrance range. Pre-sprayed Buongiorno. See, I think this is quite nicely judged. I don't think they have overdone the musks at all. You're still getting the citruses, you're still getting the mintiness, but it feels as though it's gone kind of EDT cologne-ish quiet. And this is always the trouble when you do realistic citrus notes that are not cumbersome and that are not weighed down by an overdose of musks. They're the kind of thing that doesn't last terribly long. And I would imagine a lot of people looking at this are going to think EDP costs more than £200 per bottle. I expect it to have a bit more longevity and a somewhat larger sillage. But okay, that also comes down to personal preferences. In terms of the intactness the solidity, the structure of the scent, it is really nicely done. It holds together well, and it remains quite happy and buoyant. I think it is a buoyant scent, and I'm not saying that purely because its name starts with BUO. A hard rectangular prism. I have no idea what you're talking about. Joseph says Megan's whipping up an EDP in her kitchen as we speak, or rebottling someone else's. I'll leave that one to you. Megan by Creed, says Alex. Maybe. Menmitra Kai would like your eggs to smell like butter. See, you're missing out. You could have Buongiorno eggs. Sunny side up. How do you like your Buongiorno eggs in the morning? I think that is a note on which we need to stop. So yes, one of the better releases we've had from ADP for a while. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and for the benefit of those of you who are watching live, we're going to come back with one more video. See you in a bit. Bye now.